Y'all, who remembers these things from the 70s and 80s, right? You got your little, let me check. All right, guys, I've taken stuff out. Let's go through it. Hey, y'all, welcome. I'm Tracy. This is my channel, Tracy from the Mermaid Code. And this is what I'm going to call show and tell. Sharing just a thing I'm decluttering or reorganizing. So these were the rays, right? These were the thing, right? And how ugly is this color? My gosh. But I'm sure there weren't much choices. So you would take this off, right? And then this was super sticky. And actually, it's a miracle. Maybe because it's been in the garage so much that most of it came off and didn't tear. But I pulled stuff out. But here, I only took one of Bjorn Borg. Y'all, he was the thing. See, I've been doing this a long time, right? Really a long time. So I've left a few people in here. I left John Travolta, Clark Brandon. I have, y'all, who was he? Where? I have no recollection of him. I have a couple pictures of him. This is the Marlboro Man, I think. The Winston-Salem Man, Fran Tarkenton, Disco, something, Paul Martin. I think it was Dean Martin. I don't know who it was. I don't remember. But yeah, so anyway. So in my head last night, I was like, oh, I can use that in art. I can use that in art. Okay, some of this just going. Right? I'm just going to go. Let me get some of this other stuff. All right. So hope you're feeling well. I can't get over it. Look at this, you guys. Is that Scream the 70s? So this is something I don't know. My friend that grew up with me. Oh, I know. I got the chicken pox. That's inch, because she says no itch. I mean it, no itching. Yeah, that's interesting. And she's writing about how she's in California and doing all these fun things. Yes, so that was it. I had chicken pox. Probably 1980, 81, the summer. Yeah, 15. That was fun. And then just like National Gallery of Art Cafe Buffet. Like, my parents love to do things like that. And when my parents got divorced, my dad and I did a lot. Like, y'all, I've been collecting this stuff. This was so random. It says date card. This is a date card. The person who takes it is obligated to do one of the following. 1, if you give it back to me, you owe me a date. 2, if you tear it up, you owe me a kiss. 3, if you throw it away, you owe me a hug. 4, if you keep it, you owe me all of the above. Type. Someone type this, y'all. I mean, I'm probably keeping that. That's crazy. And this stuff from school. This is 1979, Prince George's County Public Schools. I was on the honor roll, that kind of stuff. Stuff like this. I think I'm going to let go. These are not the best years of my life. This was one of my report cards, but what I thought was interesting on it was how many days I was absent. Y'all, looking back at it now, I can only tolerate so much school. Really, it's interesting. Everyone that thinks is me. Here, I got dance. I got a C. Probably because, I don't know, my final grade was a B. I got a C in dance. Well, I probably was super self-conscious, right? Modern European history, I got an A. But I was absent 16 days that semester. Wow. Because it would be, there's no way my parents could get me to do anything I didn't want to do. I don't need this. Stuff like this, right? That you don't need it. I'm not incorporating my art. And this again is James Madison Junior High. And what I love here, the phone number is 868-3850. Like no area code were being used. And I was promoted. Probably to high school. Anyway, I managed to get a C in Algebra 1. English, I got a B. That's interesting. General PE, y'all, I stepped up my game. I got an A. Typing, I got C. I hated typing. And now I know, like, my brain, you had to do it. You were being test it on speed. I just hated it. But home ec, I got an A. Fowble, Fowble. That's interesting. She was probably one of my favorite. She was so nice to me, and my locker was always near her class. And honestly, knowing now that with my ADHD, sometimes I couldn't open it, and she would open it for me. But also, here's my mom. I forged that. That's my signature. I might keep that one. And then this was, senior high eligibility roster. So this was cross country. So I was I aided and took scores and stuff like that. And so all these names, Linda Kite, Mark Miller, Steve Austin. I can't necessarily in my head. Their names are familiar, but stuff like that. Stuff like this. Let's see, in the Society of Distinguished American High School Students, this was just you had to pay for it. Oh, this is interesting. And it's recommended by my, oh my God. So I think you had to pay for this, but I've been recommended by Franklin G. Singer III. That was our pastor to represent her church and Frederick Douglass High School. So, May 27th, 1980, my father was still alive. When we receive your order, we will begin preparation of your parchment scroll, which is personalized with Tracy's name. Well, this was about money. Now, Pastor Singer. Y'all, I'm gonna do a little. So my dad, church was very important to my dad. I was raised Lutheran, did the whole confirmation. I was an acolyte when, I was not allowed to carry candles for obvious reasons even then, but it was a thing. And then my brother was confirmed with him. I was confirmed with him. And when my father was buried, he was there. He mispronounced his name, which is a whole nother story. But he'd only known my dad like 15 years. So actually, they've been going since we came there. My church was very important to my dad. And my mom was in real estate. And, Pastor Singer was this really kind of smooth guy. All the women loved him. Really dark skin, kind of like a wannabe Dean Martin-ish Rat Pack kind of guy, but pleaded poverty. And these old ladies gave him money and took care of him. And he had a roommate, which everyone, I think, then didn't, wasn't, I don't know. I know that we had discussion that he's probably gay. I'm not sure I knew it. I knew what that meant because my parents had a lot of gay friends from the, I don't know how, but just they did. My parents were like that. They're very inclusive, and we had all ages, all ethnicity, all kinds of stuff. My parents, that's probably the best quality they gave me, an openness to that. As a matter of fact, if I had to be around people just like me all the time, I'd be out of my mind. But, so my dad's gone, not long. I think he died in March, April 1, and I would say this was like June. So my mom was a real estate agent. She was working, she was an agent, and she was also like an assistant. And this man came in short shorts, like really camp, right? Like really outrageous. And like swinging at his hips, had a purse, the whole thing. There's nothing wrong with that. But he stopped dead, and my mom saw him. He saw my mom, and he's like, "What are you doing here?" It was our pastor. And he was so vicious to my mother, of course, because he'd been caught, right? And it was my mother, to say she was upset is not right. It's not that, it was just how he represented himself at church and scammed money out of all these women, old people. So maybe a week later, I'm outside, sitting in the sun, and he pulls up. He had this old big Cadillac. Anyway, he pulls up. I wasn't paying attention. I had sunglasses on. He comes up to me, and basically in his frock and how he normally looked, threatening me and my mother that if we said anything, there was going to be hell to pay. Well, I was upset, to say the least. My father's dead. This man now is nothing. Everything was an act. This was who he really is, right? And that's disillusioning all by itself. In fact, he just buried my father. Can't describe to you. So needless to say, I was upset. And I mean to tell you, my mother, at the end of her work shift, knows where he lives. And she went there and she made under no, that if you ever do this again, if you ever contact us again, you will pay for it. You have no idea. Do never threaten my child. Never do that. What the hell kind of monster are you? Really? And we had a long talk and made the decision, like, if we announce this to people really believed in him. Really, we're connected. And of course, church is the main part, but you connect to people. And, and his boyfriend, assistant, whatever. I mean, tell you, we really searched our souls and we decided, what was the point? He would never come near me again, that's for sure. Or my mother. Trust me, I believe she pushed him into a wall, which he wasn't expecting. Oh my God. Oh. So yeah, we really decided what would be the point of this, disappointing people. Why did we learn this? Why do we have to go through this, right? I mean, really, I always think that, what was the purpose other than putting me off church? I just wonder, my father were alive, But him coming and threatening me and not having a conversation with my mother, like, look, this is who I am and, whatever. But no, to be threatening and vicious. So, yep. Anyway, we just made the decision we were not going to say anything. We didn't see the point. But he was a slum landlord. That's why he had come in, because they were owned property in DC, and then he would go collect it. It was the whole thing, just gross. But what they did do is, normally, I guess it goes in like so-and-so was bought by so-and-so. Well, they would use his boyfriend's name, right? The other name was there, but it was always the boyfriend's name, not that name. Well, they switched it. So it showed up in the paper. And maybe that's when he got mean and came, I don't know. Anyway, I tried. But see, even to have his name. But another interesting story, my brother had a showing of his photographs in downtown Frederick, this little kind of cool place. And some of his high school friends came. And so one woman, I didn't really know her, and we were talking, just about, Douglas and teachers and stuff like that. And then she had mentioned that, she said, oh yeah, and I knew Mark from Holy Comforter. And I'm like, what? I said, oh my God. I said, can you imagine that scandal and how horrible that man was? And she's like, what? I was like, oh my God, I forgot. We did such a good job. We said nothing to anyone. And my brother sure as crap wasn't saying anything. Well, then I felt terrible. I did. I just, I said, I told her the story. I said, my mother and I decided that we weren't going to be the ones to rain on people's, that's sacred. I mean, we knew how we felt. But we've been threatened. It made it a little easier, right, to move on. And she got married by him. And so did her sister. Of course. I probably would have too if I'd had like that kind of trajectory. So I felt bad, but I mean, why did that happen? It was just so spontaneous. And it wasn't that we kept it a secret. We just decided we were not going to share the information, right? Anyway, she's like, I gotta go call my sister the minute I leave here. But of course he's dead now. But he was been part of the year in Florida. So, but he couldn't afford it. So all the people give him money so he could afford to live in Florida. And people who don't have money are giving him money when he has so much more money than everyone else. Anyway, he's rotten in hell, I'm sure. Anyway, so how lovely. Get rid of that name. Jeez Louise. I've gotten rid of every picture he's in too. Terrible. Anyway, Maryland Renaissance Festival. I went to the fourth one. It is a big thing now, but my dad, you guys, he loves stuff like this. I forgot. It made me remember, like, and all the different things you could see. And now everyone dresses up, and it's a thing. I'm going to keep this. That I'm going to incorporate in my art. And here's a picture of someone I have no idea. And then I used to love to keep this. So this was from an actual stuffed animal I got. I love to keep stuff like that. And for some reason, I have a few things like this, which I'm going to throw away. I don't care about. But back then it must have been. And then here's a ticket, which is awesome. We went in ninth grade around here, and I think actually around the country, you go to the Capitol, right? And you meet with your congressman or woman. And anyway, this is a ticket from when I went. And of course, my mother was not there yet. June 7th, 1980. Isn't that something? And then this was Prince George's High School football, 1980 at Largo. Homecoming. So it must have been the homecoming game. And y'all, this is Joe Theismann. So those of you who don't know Joe Theismann, he was a Washington Redskin quarterback. And he was gorgeous. And, yeah. And he was there. I wrote, isn't he a doll, folks? 1977. What's interesting about Joe Theismann, he had a restaurant. And my mom was dating a retired football player. That's a whole nother story. And so we used to go to Theismann's and, you know, and they knew each other. And so we used to get to talk to Theismann all the time. And I'm telling you, I would just be like, and my favorite was the number 7. It was the best food to get. But then what was really interesting to come full circle is my mom, somebody had, I don't remember who the person was, like a celebrity, had gone on tour with my mom and had told Joe Theismann how great it was. So he called and asked for my mother to do a tour for him and his children and, you know, like his grandchildren. So they did that, and his I think his son-in-law was a football player too. But anyway, so they had a really good tour, and, you know, she really, you know, he remembered her boyfriend. But yeah, so they had a really good tour, and he wrote a really nice note to my mother. So isn't that funny? I say I wouldn't have thought about that till I saw that. And y'all, do you know who this is? If you don't know, then you were not alive in the 70s. What, girl? This is Rex Smith. Oh my God. Rex claims to be very health conscious. Tennis is one of the sports he uses to keep in shape. Oh, I have more of him. But here's another Joe Theismann. So I wrote down the names. This must have been at school. They would come and, I have no idea. This is so odd. Ron McDowell, Frank somebody, and I don't know. And basketball players would come. Anyway, I might incorporate that. There's Joe Theismann, 1978, quarterback for the Redskins. He was really good looking. So, and let's see. So this was interesting. I found this. It said future wedding dress choices. Still time, y'all. I can't even imagine. I'm gonna incorporate those. And then my dad absolutely adored theater and, oh my God, dinner theater. Because, you know, it was cheap and, you know, it was a whole event. My dad loved dinner theater. So what Mick Henry's Dinner Theater welcomes you to Last of the Red Hot Lovers by Neil Simon. So we went for my stepsister's birthday, May 6, 1979. See, I was good at that, documenting anyway. I think this is the one where they were pretending to smoke marijuana. And my dad's like, are they really smoking marijuana? I said, no, it doesn't smell like marijuana. And he's like, well, how do you know? How do I know? Because I was getting high all the time with my friends because it was the 70s. Colony 7 Dinner Theater proudly presents Garson Kane's comedy hit Born Yesterday. So I think we had some of them that were signed. But yeah, the poor people had to serve dinner and, you know. Colony 7 Dinner proudly presents Pippin. I have no recollection of this one. So these will be fun to incorporate. They're good memories. And then on that. This, I don't remember it at all. It was 1979, May 19th. I don't know how but I really don't remember it. Okay, we went to see Grease at the Warner Theater, starring Rex Smith. My mom and dad, isn't that nice? And like, here are the tickets. And there it is. Danny Zuko, Rex Smith. You guys, I'm going to do something with that. God, I loved him. He was in the movie Sooner or Later. Oh my God. I have a copy of it. I have to watch it. I haven't seen that in a long time. And then Avon Sweet Honesty. It must have been something. So that I can let go. I don't remember Sweet Honesty, to be truthful. And then even then, I had a penchant for saving tags. Straight leg jeans. This was Bronson of California. It was a sweater, I think. Genuine leather. This was my cowboy hat. And I got that, the yellow kid, I don't know, but I got the hat. We were going skiing in this local place as a like a weekend school thing. And I, speaking of the devil, it was, no, that's not it. But yeah, we, and I had the cool, I have a picture of myself, but, so yeah. So this is when we went skiing at Seven Springs with the school, January 15th, 1978. Had a blast, 9th grade. Actually, I remember this, not somebody that went to school with me, but this guy made a really rude comment to me. I didn't know what it meant until my friend told me, and I was like shocked, like out of my mind, shocked. And here's another one. That's good at documenting things. Here's another, this was probably from that trip, right? I don't need that. No interest. And then this is just random. So 2 pictures of me. I don't know if Carol, somebody, oh, I think somebody from my class must have drawn it. Carol, and this was Karen, no, yeah, I mean, this was definitely paper from where my mom worked. So I think that one looked more like me. I have to find that picture. I'm gonna keep those. And then this is Les McEwen, I think, from the Bay City Rollers. Leif Garrett. Now, Leif Garrett, my mom, she's a good egg sometimes, right? So we loaded up a bunch of my friends in the car and had to drive all the way to Virginia to this record store to see him. And do you know, there was such a crowd. They pushed in the glass of the record thing and they had to scoot him out, and I never did see him. My mother is like, we are out of here. So, and anyway, another Bjorn Berg. This just randomly in there. Show me the money. Fountain of Youth, St. Augustine, Florida, which is so funny. This is where Mimi went to school. She loved St. Augustine. This I went with my mother and her awful boyfriend, south of the border. So I'm going to keep that. I'm going to let that go because of Mimi. This is the thing I love to collect advertisement. Love lasts. And then my dad, we went to Cape Cod. They had a friend from the Air Force that lived in Cape Cod. So just some of that. And the Pilgrim, we had to go see Pilgrim Rock. And, you know, my dad loved historic, I always say historical stuff. And then again, like Kennedy Center, Stage Bill. What did that say what it is? What it was for? August 1981. Oh, Annie. And then the National Theater, 1979. Chorus Line, 14th birthday, January 28th, 1979. The National Theater, Evita. Sometimes I just really don't remember these. January 6th, 1982. So my dad would have still been alive. That might have been one of the last things we saw together. But my dad loved theater. And then just a few more random pictures. So do you guys have scrapbooks like this still? Another Jean thing. Made in the USA. And then this is just randomly. I must have met her. It says Tina Babakos in Springfield, Mass. So this must have been, this was June 1979. So this must have been when we went to Cape Cod. Random. And probably I was going to mail it to her. Here's this Clark Brandon again. What was he in? I just can't imagine. What was he in? I don't know. Another Joe Theismann. And this was, so there's Theismann, but This was my friend Shanda, and she lived, so it was my house, another house, Shanda's house, and then there was a corner on the other street, a house, and then that was Andy Langrish. Says, took this to Joe Theismann at James Madison when the WWDC basketball team played the school faculty. I was 12 in the 7th grade, 1977. That's so interesting. Okay. I might just cut Joe Theismann now. Again, random things from the National Enquirer. Like, it's Barney the Bear. I might keep that one. And then again, Rex Smith, and Rex Smith. So yeah. Oh, what? One more. I have a little dibs. And what's interesting, I noticed about this tag was it says made in Taiwan, Republic of China. I don't really know. I mean, I know there's a big issue going on because I have Taiwanese friends, but Republic of China, interesting. So I'm not sure what went on there. But anyway, that's just a little look. So I'm going to throw a lot of this away, and some I'll keep and throw in a box and just incorporate it. You know, you can put it on a page and then do art and stuff. So it's just the base of it. But yeah, it's and I still have a lot more to go through like that. I'm just doing a little bit at a time because it is very emotional. And to just think about the girl I was, and you know, some I just have no memory of. Like, I can't believe I can't remember. I remember some of the dinner theaters more because my dad used to let me get a drink, and you know, like a pina colada, something like that. And I remember the waiters. Like one day, once it was my birthday, he's like, "You're 18, right?" Probably no, but yeah. It was interesting. My dad, we always had like a little wine, cold duck, terrible. Probably gave us terrible things that we wouldn't like it. But I mean, you know, my brother and I never had a thing for alcohol, but maybe because it was just not taboo or a bad thing. All right, guys, you take care. And yeah, I just, I'm going to keep some of it. Oh yeah, and all that jazz. Oh wait, this one, I love these. They were De Beers ads. A diamond is forever. Yeah. I just loved advertisement. And now, you know I had creative bent. And, you know, I don't know. But anyway, but yeah, I've been collecting paper since I was young. I just was better at documenting when it was. So, all right, guys, take care. And I hope you're new. You subscribe. Stick around. There's all kinds of stuff going on. I'm a jack of all trades here. Hodgepodge, if you will. But, yeah, thanks, and let me know. Do you still have stuff like this, or have you already purged it? As much as I have moved around, apparently this was coming with me. But yeah, but I'm basically just going to go through and let stuff go, and, you know, either incorporate in art, or, you know, even having that, like that pastor thing, that disturbs me. I had stuff like that I think you need to process, right? Like, I mean, I must have been terrified. I do remember crying. I do remember him standing over me. And I remember, I was like, you know, laying in the sun, like kind of vulnerable, probably had a bathing suit on. And, you know, I don't remember exactly what he said, but I know he was vicious. And I do know my mother roughed him up. Yeah, you didn't mess with her child. So, but that's a good memory too in that sense. But yeah, and this was like in October. So now when my brother had his thing, and it might have been April or May, actually, not that long ago. My sense of time is off, but yeah, and it's kind of like, it was so random, and I didn't even think, like, because we put it behind us, and it took a while to process all that, and neither one of us were really excited about going to church. I do kind of now maybe want to try different churches. And honestly, because it meant so much to my father. But I don't want, you know, I'd want something that's just like community and uplifting kind of thing. But anyway, yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. Maybe that's something, EMDR, I'll just process and let go. But there's traumas that you suffer you don't even remember. Because I can guarantee you that was pretty traumatic. You know, if this was like, my dad had died in, you know, end of March, buried in April, and this is like June-ish, you know, please, what an asshole, really. He's roasting, can tell you. But anyway, You guys take care, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.